Shinran's use of inscriptions. From the surviving scrolls that Shinran had made, it is clear that he developed a unique format which allowed for a large area of the scrolls to be given to inscriptions. While this does not hold the doctrinal significance manifested in the placing of the name on the altar, it does reveal the importance Shinran gave to the written word of Scripture, which he sought to make accessible even to the illiterate. Inscriptions to identify the figure depicted and to record words of praise had been a common feature of portraits since the Nara period. During the Heian period, it was common to write an inscription on a small rectangular slip of paper and affix it to the corner of a portrait. Shinran, however, with his profound interest in the new culture being introduced from China, took as his own model Song Dynasty portraits, in which legends were attached immediately above and below the portraits on hanging scrolls. In this way, he significantly increased the area allotted to inscriptions. Moreover, extant scrolls in which Shinran had a direct hand show that he even went beyond such Chinese models, often extending the writing the entire width of the portrait where previously there had been margins, and even at times making 3 horizontal columns of writing, 2 above and 1 below, so that the inscription shared an equal surface of the scroll with the portrait. The place Shinran gave to scroll inscriptions is particularly conspicuous because after his death the inscriptions again were gradually reduced in size, and with Renyo they totally disappear. We also know from Shinran scrolls that a variety of inscriptions were used, and that there was no rule of using any particular inscription. For example, the inscriptions for the name include the 11th and 17th vows. We can assume that a large number of inscriptions were in use on the various portraits in Shinran's day. Collections of inscriptions seem also to have been made. The slender booklet, Passages on the Shikishi mounted on altar scrolls, dating from after Shinran, but of unknown authorship, is a copy of 7 of the inscriptions included in Notes on the Inscriptions on Sacred Scrolls. 7 pages from another collection recording 4 inscriptions have also been preserved in Myogenji Temple in the Aichi Prefecture. It is unclear, however, how these collections were used, and they may have been intended for reference in writing inscriptions for new scrolls rather than as works to be read independently. In any case, by collecting and explaining the inscriptions, Shinran created a work which may be regarded as a highly condensed presentation of the essentials of his teaching. The most systematic exposition of Shinran's teaching is his major work, Teaching, Practice, and Realization. As the complete title, quote, a collection of passages revealing the true teaching, practice, and realization of the Pure Land Way, close quote, indicates, this work consists largely of passages drawn from the Pure Land scriptures in Chinese, sutras, treatises, and commentaries, organized into chapters on the major topics of Shin Buddhist doctrine. It includes Shinran's own commentary, also in Chinese. In addition, Shinran wrote a much shorter work in Chinese in the same format called Passages on the Pure Land Way. Although the order of composition of these 2 works has yet to be determined, it is clear that the latter is a summary of the longer work. While Notes on the Inscriptions on Sacred Scrolls lacks the formal organization around the central Shin Buddhist topics found in these more systematic works, like them, it is basically a collection of passages in Chinese. Since these inscriptions hung in the altars of Shin Buddhists as the objects of daily worship, they were words etched deeply in Shinran's mind and include those he deemed to be of greatest importance concerning the matters of Shinjin and birth in the Pure Land, that is, enlightenment. The essential elements of Shinran's thought may be found in their most concise form through considering the passages collected and explained in his Notes on the Inscriptions on Sacred Scrolls. Eulogies of the masters and quotations from their works accompanied their portraits. These portraits represented the Pure Land tradition, in which the working of the name is manifested in history. In the earliest period of the Pure Land school in Japan, portraits of Shantao and Honen as the principal transmitters of the Nembutsu teaching were honored. In filling out a lineage of 7 patriarchs of Shin Buddhism, Shinran added Nagarjuna and Vasubandhu of India, Tanluan and Taocho of China, and Genshin of Japan. Not all 7 are represented in Notes on the Inscriptions on Sacred Scrolls, however, and inscriptions for other figures appear. Thus, in the earlier of 2 versions of this work, inscriptions for Vasubandhu, Shantao, Genshin, Honen, Saikaku, who was a disciple of Honen, much admired by Shinran, and Shinran himself are discussed. The latter version also includes inscriptions for Mahastama Prapta, the Bodhisattva of Wisdom, Nagarjuna, Tanluan, and Prince Shotoku, a major figure in the introduction of Buddhism into Japan.